In centuries past, Ozymandias, the king of kings, the god who breathed, ruled the world entire. No one knows why he disappeared. They know only that legends speak of the vast and wondrous treasure he left behind. No one has found the entrance ancient to Ozymandias' vault. Legends speak of the accumulation of not just a nation's wealth, but a world's wealth, hidden for centuries. For as long as he has been missing, treasure hunters and adventurers have sought these fables. Most did not return, and those that did were changed. Alive, but vacant, faithless, as if they knew nothing existed beyond this mortal coil. None of the hunters that returned could remember much about their journey, just a bit, fraction. But one young soul spent their life piecing together the bits and pieces and fragments from all of the hunters, painstakingly placing them into a map. But before they could use it, they fell ill. Leprosy covered their body, weeping through the bandages wrapped around the dying flesh. Your group procured this map from this wretch, ripped it from their hands. They cried when you took it, yellow tears of bile, and for half a day's travel they followed you at a distance, shouting, "I brought you to Ozymandias! I deserve something! I brought you to Ozymandias! I deserve my share!" Over and over the cries and protestations came from behind you. But after midday, the voice faded from earshot. They were not seen again. Did they quit? Did their body finally quit? You do not know, and if you care is your own concern. You have reached the edge of the map, Ozymandias' seat of power. Though all but the shifting sands remain, here and there, hints of a vast and powerful kingdom appear. Hard lines and edges stuck in the ebb and flow of the abrasive sea of silt. What are these hints? What do your characters see that sparks and speaks of ages past and power undreamed of? And so that is the question that I first ask my players as we sit to play Trophy, an interesting RPG by Jesse Ross. Let's see exactly what they do see, as this is a scene not to be told to you, but to be painted by the players. And so I will ask this: on the edge of Ozymandias' former glory, the desert stretches, but here and there are hints of ancient wonders. Go around and tell me what you see, but before you tell us what your character sees, tell us what we see. What does your character look like? You may take turns, my friends. Welcome to Trophy.
Right, who wants to go first?
I can. Um, you see this very tall, lithe woman, probably with like the fluidity and grace of a dancer that she used to be, named Sybil, and her dark hair is pulled back away from her face as she is drawn to these parts in the sand in the desert that looks like the sand has been crystallized at her feet, and she's sort of kneeling over, touching these parts of sand that it's not sand just doesn't, out of nowhere crystallize. Something's caused this to happen, and it's caught her attention and sort of distracted her for a long moment.
Not too far away is another woman, not as tall. Her figure is a little more full. She's a decade, maybe more, older than Sybil. Her hair is a strawberry blonde and curls done up. Even out here in the desert, it is styled. She carries a parasol to protect the fading beauty and her fine porcelain skin. There are still fine wrinkles around her eyes. Her dress was once a very fine court gown. It is now faded, well washed, well worn, and carefully mended. She has her gloves on, and she stops and leans against the broken pillar of one of these ruins to apply a salve, a cream to her face to keep from burning. And she looks out and notices the dry scrub, the dusty green of desert plants, looking for those that she knows can be useful.
And right next to her is a third woman, average height and build, and with dark brown hair that she has pulled back tightly into a bun, which right now still looks fairly neat. And you see first gray streaks running through her hair, and her clothing is very functional. She wears pants that are loosely fitting but long and stuffed into leather boots, and also wears a coat and right now like a scarf loosely wrapped around her head. And she peers out into the distance, narrowing her eyes, and she believes that she can see a kind of stone formation, although at this point she's not quite sure if her eyes are playing tricks on her or if it's really that, but she mumbles to herself. The map said something about a piece of ruin that looks like a finger pointing up, didn't it? And this person's name is Dr. Agatha Lambert.
We also see a shorter man in his early 40s wearing finely pressed desert gear and a pith helmet. He has a satchel around his across his chest, out of which poke a number of scrolls. One he takes out, unrolls it, looks around, mumbles something like, this is how the tower should be. There. And he points into the opposite direction from where Agatha thought she saw the piece of ruin. And there's just a remnant, that's more like a shape underneath the sand that hints at pieces of a fallen tower.
And last is an older, weathered man, salt and pepper in his dark beard and hair. And he carries a large pack with him, stuffed with items. And on his hip is a sword, with wearing a beat-up outfit that's well maintained, but has seen far too many years and should have been replaced. And he catches sight near the tower of another shape, partially poking up from the sand, almost like that of a face. And his name is Simon.
So as you all look around and see the various hints of ages past, it is only natural that here on the edge you begin to drift a bit through and beyond what would have been the boundary, if such things ever existed. The map has an edge, and you have passed it. And as you are pointing out these various things, or leaning, or indicating, there is a shift, almost an exhalation from behind you, from the edge of the map. Sand parts and begins to bleed and run away as, rising in defiance of gravity from feet straight up in a board, is an ancient armored figure. It turns, it looks at all of you, an indicator of the world that you came from resting on the horizon behind its shoulder. It produces a spear, and in a broken, alien accent, it says,
"You will never have treasure Ozymandias, King of Kings."
And it charges. My friends, what would you like to do?
Marie has, from somewhere, who knows where, produced a dagger, a throwing knife in her hand. As she steps behind the pillar, her valise on the ground behind her, her skirts gathered in so that she is completely hidden behind the pillar with the dagger in her hand.
Wilbur dives behind a dune.
Since Agatha was standing right next to Mary, she would also try to hide behind the pillar. And yeah, I mean, she
Those
also
of
has a knife. Rabbit.
Those of you that would like to hide, or those of you that would like to do any action, please tell me what it is you would like to do. Describe your character's movements, hide behind a pillar, and then I would like you to produce a roll for me as we begin into the mechanics of Trophy. Very similar to Cthulhu Dark, Tales are Blades in the Dark. You'll be able to follow along. Let's see exactly what we want to do. Let's start with you, Kat. Kat, you want to hide behind a pillar.
Yes.
You have 1d6 just because, and then what?
Okay. And she is also producing a dagger. So she's holding onto a dagger as well. So just a 1d6. Let me see here. Oh, and I have an occupation that will help, which is stealth.
That'll give you another d6.
All right. So we'll just go ahead and roll those 2d6.
And with a 6, meaning utter success, how, again, is there anything you would like to add to your prior description of just hiding behind the pillar?
She seems to have just gathered herself in as if this is something that she's used to doing, just kind of disappearing behind something to become unnoticed, perfectly still, listening and aware and waiting.
The desert accepts you as a piece of it, and you will vanish from sight, even from your friends. Agatha, let's go over to you, and since you are hiding as well, the same situation applies. What would you like to use?
Actually, I'm going for a slightly. Well, it depends on where that thing is running. Because if I'm just hiding, I would only be able to use one die. Okay, I'm going all in right now. I hide at first, but then I wait for the thing to either charge past us, depending on where it's going, or if it comes straight at us, I will use my surgical knowledge. And you said that that thing was wearing armor?
It is wearing armor with a crest unknown to any of you.
Ugh. Is there any from what I could see any gap in the armor? Because then I would have a hefty dagger or a knife, and I would at the least try to stick the dagger in somewhere in his knee or the ankle area to just, if it still functions on normal anatomy, to try and uh, uh, what's what I'm looking for, disable it, so to speak.
Sure, absolutely. What we'll do here is imagine, if you will, the armor configuration of this guard is more Roman centurion and less
Okay.
King Arthur. So there are plates and, elements of softer materials like leather. And there's exposed flesh.
Yeah, so I'm going for the tendons uh, in the knee area, sort of diving in.
Okay.
So there would be 2d6 then, the one for the run
One for-
regular, and then
One for surgery, which is
one for
you're
surgery.
performing it.
Okay, here goes nothing. 7.
Fantastic.
But that doesn't matter, right? It's all about
That's-
what the highest die is showing.
Correct. The highest die is the winner. So if you have a 6, which means complete success, 1, 2, and 3, not good. 4 and 5, okay. 6, great. So with another 6, you are able to do exactly as you say. Describe to us in whatever detail you would like as you hit this joint, this weak spot of this guard.
Yeah, so I do, as I said before, I'm hiding next to Marie, but I do peek around the pillar, and just as the thing has charged past us, I duck low and go after it, and then sort of do a forward slash movement and stick that thing in and cut the tendon so that it topples over.
It does cut through, and as you draw through the flesh of this thing, you experience a puff of what is a mixture of sand and ash that kind of blisters and blows from the wound that you opened. It drifts in the desert air, of which there is a breeze kind of swirling for a bit. And anyone that is watching as Agatha makes this attack successfully would see that her skin for a moment darkens as this ash mixes with just the flush and sweat of skin. It doesn't topple, but it begins to drag a bit as it lopes, and its spear dips down to keep it from falling, almost as if it's utilizing the polearm as a crutch now instead of a weapon.
I suggest we run now. And I get ready to run.
Okay. Everyone else?
I would imagine that Sybil, because she was sort of kneeled over looking at the sand, is relatively close. So I think she would twist away and try to kick the spear from the person's hand, so they would fall over and they could make a cleaner getaway.
Okay. So you do have a reroll that has just come in as well. So thank you very much, Jorian. You may utilize that at any time that you would like. It rerolls 1d6, which is very, very powerful in this game. Tell me which dice you would like to use, or die if you only have.
I would my just human limitation dies, and then I think because I'm skilled in grace, that could work. I'm an old dancer. I would know how to twist around to catch the person off guard.
Absolutely, I'll buy that for $1. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'll roll 2d6.
And with your third 6 in a row, defying everything that trophies about. No, I'm joking. So yeah, describe to us
out of the way early, Greg.
I know that. So whenever you describe to us what happens when you give this.
Yeah, so you see, as she sort of, Agatha says, we should run now. Sybil is already perked up, seeing what's happening. She kicks her leg out and sort of twist her body so she can kick this spear, the thing that's holding this creature up. And as he falls over completely, she does stand up and sort of brushes the sand off of her. I agree with Agatha. We should probably go now. And she's going to also start running off.
Fantastic. And in chat, Mad Rogue, you're absolutely correct. 666 is the number of the beast. So I think things will be going... Well, we'll see what way they'll be going from this point forward. As you begin to run, we still have actions remaining from Simon and Wilbur. What would the two of you like to do?
Wilbur is definitely as described, as he has no fighting abilities or even physical abilities whatsoever, just trying to hide behind the dune and hoping the thing goes for someone else. So I don't have any applicable skills. All that remains is 1d6 for me, I think. Let's see how this goes. Nope.
There's what I was waiting for. So
Wilbur stumbles, trips over its own feet, and sort of face plants into the sand.
Okay, yep. So as you fall and
without being able to get behind the dune before that.
Right.
After, yeah.
And in fact, with a 1, as you fall and slide, you roll a bit, and the creature who is now on the ground, the guard, you roll within grasping distance as, with its non-spear-bearing hand, you feel the talons of this guard wrap around your ankle. Simon.
So before Simon takes any actions, I have a question as a player. Is seeing and hearing this creature disturbing to us?
Oh, it will be. As soon as we're done this little scenario, I want to know how disturbing it is.
Okay.
Don't worry, I gotcha.
Simon watches everyone react, and not really being in a position to hide, he draws his sword, and as Agatha shouts, "We need to run," he starts to run. So I would like to, my 1 for just because and my 1 for athletics for running, please.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
Partial successes.
Okay, so with the partial success, you are able to, for a moment, Simon, it's not that you bumble or get confused, it's that as that same wind that whipped the ash from Agatha's, the wound that she drew, it floated around, lighting on her skin. It actually puffed and was carried, and you get it in your eyes for a moment. And as you blink, you can see the flecks in your vision as they swirl against your eyes, and it casts you just a step or two behind where you would be. You know, you in desperate need to kind of rub your eye and clear it, but instead you turn and begin your run. So you're slightly irritated as far as your vision goes right now. Nothing mechanically. It's just something that hinders you just a bit, slows you down. You are able to run with the others. As we have people in flight, but we also have 3 people that are still around here, as we have Agatha and Katie, and of course Ozzy, you are being held by the creature. So before we get back to you, I need to know what Agatha and what Sybil were doing at this time.
I think Sybil and I were getting ready to run. And
you're all like in starting block formation after your attack of kicking out the spear and then actual surgical strike. So at the top of this round, imagine that you're still in the vicinity of the fallen creature that has now grabbed hold of Wilbur.
Yes,
I would like.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You go ahead. Go ahead. Fine.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of in about, I run a few steps, but then I hear Wilbur cry out, and I look back over my shoulder and sort of can't help but roll my eyes and say, men. And I give Sybil a sort of a questioning look. Now, and I say, I guess we still need him at this point, don't we?
Well, we should at least try. I'd like to do a ritual if I can, Greg. I would like to make a mirage of another one of these creatures to try and distract this one.
You want to make a mirror or a mirage of the creature attacking you to see if it distracts the creature. Sure. It will work. All I need you to do is roll a d6. Your ruin is currently 3.
3.
So yeah, we're looking. Okay, so you're good. For everybody that needs to know, if you roll above your current ruin score with a d6, you get another point of ruin. It gives you all manner of fun things that happen to you as well. Plus, when you hit 6, your character becomes my character.
So I think what you see is Sybil steps back and just sort of rolls her eyes for a moment, and she pauses, and as she begins to lift her hands, the sand around them begins to form into this same creature. Sort of like with that, when it's very, very hot and you see the heat waves in the distance, it sort of has that blurry effect, but it's forming into this same image of this creature that has its hold on Wilbur.
Okay. And Agatha, you do have the ability to have an action here. That action can be to run. Is there anything you are doing to either assist in this or take care of yourself or save Wilbur?
Oh, sorry. I think I didn't catch up. Were you asking if anybody else is going to?
Yeah, Agatha, you're still in frame, so to speak, with the creature Wilbur and the ritual casting Sybil. Is there any action you would like to take at this time, or are you observing, fleeing, helping?
I'm waiting for just a second to see what exactly the ritual is going to, how it turns out.
Okay. Let's go ahead then to Wilbur. Wilbur, you feel this thing's unearthly grip tightening on your ankle. You know, just if force, pressure, and physics are any indication, your ankle will not stand much more of what is going on here. What would you like to do?
Right. Wilbur thinks this thing can't possibly be alive. It has to be constructed in some way. So he would like to use his engineering skill and knowledge to get out of the grip.
Okay.
Now, pressure, leverage, that sort of thing.
Sure. Is there anything that you are using to kind of create a lever or a fulcrum or some type of counter?
He'll rip off his belt and wrap it around the finger and use that.
Okay. Go ahead, and I will give you 2d6 for that one as you break out engineering in a melee.
That's a 5.
Okay. So with a 5, you are able to free yourself from the grip of the creature. It almost, when you pull free, it's like a claw almost, in that it drags rivulets of your own flesh beneath its crooked nails. It does not break your ankle, but it creates 5 distinct wounds from fingers and thumb as it claws through your cloth. As you pull it free, however, the one complication is you're not able to stand. You are basically in kind of a crab crawl position. So you may retreat as far as you would like. Not as far as you'd like, but you may begin your retreat from a crab crawl and or do something else entirely.
We'll we'll definitely scrabble away in the same direction the others have.
Could I then step in, sort of reach downward and sort of, hoist him up?
Yeah, you held your action. You can absolutely take it to help Wilbur stand. Wilbur, your ankle hurts like hell, but it's supporting your weight.
Mhm.
At this time, the creature begins to rise on its kind of shattered, compromised knee, but it reaches down to pick up its spear when its eyes meet the mirage. And you see it slowly stand back, rigid. Its kind of sunken chest sticks out as it puts the spear slowly into the sand, standing at attention and presumably at guard. It is still.
Well, it's now or never, Mr. Merriweather. I suggest we get out of here.
Can we finally go now?
Yep.
No more distractions.
A nice long way around.
You're able to pull away from this scene as the creature just stares at its doppelganger and returns to a state of rest. As you all gather together, kind of reconvening deeper into the map, it is at that moment that you all see a shadow in between you. The shadow gets bigger, and with a thunk, a large vulture hits the ground, its eyes milky white in death, and you see it begin to immediately decompose as if it had been there in the heat for a day, a week, a month. Bones and feathers drift through the air, and as they swirl much like the ash and darkened sand of the guard, those of you that look back see the guard do the same. I'd like you all to roll me a ruin roll, please.
Yep, mine goes up.
Is this just 1d6?
Just 1d6, yep.
Now I'm rolling the 6.
There you go.
As did
So-
I.
I believe that is 4 of the 5 of you.
But good news, I'm okay.
Everybody, Katie's all right.
Sorry, remind me again. It was. It has to be
has-
lower.
Has to be the same or lower. If it is above, then you take another point.
Yep.
So everybody that failed, please add another point to your ruin scores. I will do the same. I believe. Let me make sure I have all of you where you need to be.
Wilbur's at 4 now.
Okay. So with all of those that go through, the following things begin to happen, and you need to, however you want to define this, you go right ahead, but this is the realm of Ozymandias, the desert itself beginning to creep into your minds. As, let's start with Agatha. Agatha, you are beginning to have difficulty remembering the words of your trade. It's the word medicine escapes you, and it takes a few moments for you to remember this. You remember your craft, you know how to do everything, but vocalizing it and even thinking about it, it's as if those words, those practiced words, dance just out of your grip, just beyond your tongue.
Yes, and you can see her. So just the appearance of those figures, in and of themselves, it doesn't seem to phase her. Only in the moment when they start to decay in front of their eyes within seconds, she doesn't even seem disturbed, but more like she begins to mutter, especially as the effect starts to set in. She goes, not again. I have to stabilize the. What's the word? I have to. And then, yeah, you see probably also a slight twitch. One of her eyes is twitching a little bit.
And as that begins, Simon, speaking of eyes, as you now have the moment to kind of take care of that grit that had slowed you down before, as you wipe it clear and reopen your eye, it's massive. Almost as if a darkened cataract has taken your peripheral vision. You blink, it doesn't hurt anymore, but you have a blind spot. A huge blind spot. It's unnerving, especially to somebody that wields a weapon. What do we see from Simon?
What? No, this can't be. How am I going to fight? How am I going to get home? And he just keeps rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, mumbling to himself.
Yep.
Very quickly, Greg, the effect that you described for Agatha, does it linger, or is it just for a moment?
It's lingering for now. It's
Okay.
lingering for now. So as we drop now to Marie, who also failed, you begin to feel bone weary, as if you haven't had a chance to even stop, let alone sleep, in days. You feel your muscles begin to kind of spasm in exertion, in continued motion. It's not necessarily painful, it's just ever present, this incredible lethargy that's just now almost a weight on you. As the sun bears down, so does this.
She just collapses into the sand where she is, with the parasol, trying to cover herself, block as much of the sun, create as much shade as she can. The knife has gone back into its sheath somewhere, and she has a fan, and she's just fanning herself. Oh, a rest, yes, a rest. What's left of the bird that that dissolved in front of us?
As you look around, you see a couple dark feathers floating on the wind, but they too are distancing themselves from you.
Sybil's going to walk over to Marie, seeing her collapse, and just kneel down and my phone's going to ring in the desert is actually what's going to happen. Very sorry. He walks over to Marie and like puts her lips close to her ear and says, "We don't have time to rest. You need to knock this off right now."
When you get old, remember this, dear. And she will actually look around for one of the gentlemen, and seeing them otherwise occupied, will just reach out and in a none too gentle grip, grab Sybil's upper arm and use Sybil to pull herself back up, standing.
And as you regain your feet, it is to Wilbur. Wilbur, as you perhaps are testing the ankle to make sure everything is okay, it's at that moment that you realize Patches is gone. And as you look around for your dog, you don't see him anywhere.
Patches. Patch. Come here, come, boy, come here. Well, this is all wrong. It's all lies. This shouldn't be like this. It's
Better the dog than us.
hmm? This can't be right. We're not in the right place.
I
The
think
rest
we're
of you-
exactly in the right place.
Yes, the rest of you would know that, to your knowledge, Wilbur does not have a dog.
Is everyone going to be okay? Or do
I
I
don't
have to
know.
continue on this by myself?
And I think at this point, Agatha
My ankle hurts. It's bad.
doesn't fully snap out of it, but she does a huh and begins to focus in on your conversation, and then looks at Wilbur. And again, she's still very fuzzy brained, but she still sees a sign of him putting most of his weight on one foot and not looking too happy. And so yes, we could get shelter, and then I could take a look at the map. I have
Let's go somewhere safe first.
yes, also yes.
Sybil, as you are looking around, back towards the direction of where the guard stood, you see what appears to be the glint of some type of metallic or reflective surface. It is definitely not the armor. It seems to be lost to the sand, as was the guard himself. But there's something resting there.
Perhaps you should set up a rest point here so you can take care of Wilbur's ankle. Doc, I would hate to have to carry him for the rest of the journey. She's going to step back and let go of Marie. If you'll excuse me, I'll be right back. And I think she's going to go out there and investigate what that is.
Sure, without the need for a roll, unless you're trying to do this without anybody else's knowledge.
No, I don't think she's trying to hide it.
Okay.
Marie would go with her, and as she follows a step behind Sybil, once her back is to everyone else, she starts kind of almost as if she's cleaning a mirror, wiping and erasing. And she's casting the ritual obscure in order to hide Sybil from any of the spirits that might be around.
Okay.
And let's hope I don't go crazy. Oh, I rolled twice. It's not the sixes.
The 6 that you rolled first is the one that we'll take.
Yes.
So that's going to increase your ruin yet again to 5.
Oh, God, Kat. We
And
just started.
The things I do. The things I do for you.
Well, but now she can start to really mess with us.
there, right. This is all coming at me right now.
This is what
okay.
Greg wanted.
Right.
Exactly.
So, what ends up happening as you cast this spell, cleric, as you are able to obscure, and Marie is able to perform this masking on Sybil, that lethargy takes hold, and you all see Marie fall into the sand, completely asleep.
So glad I put the sunscreen on first.
I don't think Sybil even notices it because the sand would sort of mask the sound, and Sybil was ahead of Marie, so Sybil's going to continue on to this metallic thing that she saw without even noticing that Marie has fallen behind her.
Absolutely. And Sybil, when you get there, you do see the sundered armor. You do see kind of the bits and pieces of it that seem to actually be corroding into base dust, but the reflective elements that you saw, you see 2 blue gems, basically the size of robin's eggs, and you see a golden necklace with what looks like a plate, almost like a dog tag on it.
Does it have any inscription on it? Anything like on the plate? Any sort of words or symbols or anything?
It does, but what does it say?
I think that it's lost to Sybil. She doesn't understand it. So she grabs everything and she turns around and sees Marie. And as she goes over to Marie, she leans down and notices she's asleep and shakes her just lightly. As Marie, wake up. I need your help, please. Wake up. She's very calm, as she can be, or at least she's trying to be, as she's holding these things in her hands and also trying to wake Marie up.
Simon would have been on his way over as soon as he saw Marie collapse as well. What happened?
I wasn't watching. She was tired. She said she needed to rest. So, not exactly what I thought she would do.
Marie, we need you to wake up. And he'll reach into his backpack and pull out smelling salts or something.
And Marie would wake up. Still the tired, the ache, and the utter exhaustion is there, but you're able to get your eyes open with as the ammonia hits, you're able to.
Are you with us, doll?
Are you okay?
Oh, just very tired. The sun is. I'm not used to this type of heat and sun. It's very disconcerting.
Well, perhaps you shouldn't
Tired.
wear such a heavy dress out into the middle of the desert.
Sybil, it's the only dress I own.
I don't see how that's my problem. Can you help her up, Simon, and let's get back to the others?
Well, I suppose that I could just take it off. And she'll actually make to start unlacing the back.
Sybil just rolls her eyes and starts walking off, leaving Marie with Simon.
No, we don't need any of that, doll. Let me help you up.
Oh, thank you. Such a gentleman. You're very, very kind. And she will allow herself to be assisted to her feet. And we'll actually kind of do the whole, let's call it the Blanche Dubois bit, where she kind of leans in on him just a little bit. Yes, panning herself.
When Sybil reaches Agatha and Wilbur, she's immediately...
Real quick, Sybil, as you are walking back with, I'm assuming you're still carrying the possessions?
Yeah, she wanted to show it to the doctor and to Wilbur.
As you were preparing to present these things, one side of the we'll call them the dog tags that you just couldn't make out, almost an alien script, it twists on the chain a bit as you're holding it, and the other side is revealed to you, and it says, "Beware, Agatha."
Okay. So as she sort of pauses as she's back on her journey toward them, and she's going to look around, and I would like to pocket the necklace if I can, without anyone seeing.
Sure.
Would you want me to roll for that?
Oh yeah, I would like you to, please.
Okay, well, I think I'm going to use his Skilled in Grace, so she could do it in a sort of way no one would notice. And I think that's all, because I am a spy, but it doesn't I guess Skilled in Silence, maybe?
Yeah, you can make an argument for it, but I like your Grace one better, which is
I like
more
Grace
sleight
too,
of hand. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. To a 5.
Okay. You're able to put it away, and for the sake of the narrative, neither Agatha nor Wilbur notice anything, but it is Marie who, trailing behind, just as she drops her head onto the shoulder of Simon, the angle gives her a perfect glimpse of you dropping something into or secreting something away on your person.
There's just the tiniest of a smile tipping the corner of the lips of Marie as she sees this happen. And to distract Simon to make sure that he's not seeing this, Simon, perhaps we should go check on our guide Wilbur and Agatha. I think I may be able to help her a little bit.
Yes, that sounds like a marvelous idea.
When she gets close to the other two, she's going to immediately sort of kneel down close to Wilbur and present the two. You said they were emeralds, right? Present the two emeralds.
Well, they're blue gems. You can
Blue gems.
maybe sapphire, but I mean these things are pretty impressive.
Ooh. Wilbur sort of turns them in his fingers and quick look, takes out one of those what are called, the loops you put in the eye.
To lightly squeeze his ankle. Excuse me, Mr. Merriweather.
Well, they seem to be real. Do they feel solid? And
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and roll me a roll for this? What do you want to do, Wilbur?
I have research as a skill.
That's a good one.
Let's do that. 6.
So with a 6, as you are able to look at this, Wilbur, you can divine that these two appear to be perfectly matched as far as weight and cut and luster and anything else that you would want to kind of get clarity with a sapphire is odd, but you kind of see that they're almost identical. And they also have etched into one of their facets the same symbol that the guard had on their chest plate.
But this is a symbol I've never seen before.
You've never seen before.
Greg, real quick, when I
Decades research for nothing.
Go right ahead, yeah.
as I take a look at Wilbur's ankle, what do I see?
I'd love a roll here. I'll give you surgery on this one, since you're essentially just doing first aid, which is JV surgery. You don't like the look of a couple of these. You think that there is, whether it's from an environmental or just bad luck, these are probably going to be, if not already, infected.
So
you can take
it's
steps,
like
but
claw marks, you said, right?
they're claw marks. But the weird thing is that they look like they've been untreated for days. Like you see where there's been like coagulation and then them reopening because they weren't ever closed correctly, and there's almost the beginnings of like a dry necrosis around the actual cut.
I assume Agatha is poking around and Wilbur going.
Yes. And how much is the fuzzy brain effect still there? Am I able to? Do I have
You
my
can.
sheet there again?
Yeah, you can. You're starting to come clear of it a bit. You can perform your tasks perfectly. It's just that assigning the learned definitions to all of them is escaping you at this moment.
Okay.
So you sound like me if I'm trying to describe something. You'd be like, well, they've got a cut instead of, incision or anything like that. So it's just, you can communicate what's going on. It's just in layman's terms, really, instead of the maybe appropriate jargon.
Yeah. So
This is going to hurt, crunch.
so yeah, I clean the wound with some rub and alcohol, and I even, as the others are doing whatever they're doing, I even grab I even grab I prepare a quick poultice and out of some, well, not so fresh herbs anymore, but as I apply it, I sort of wrap a bandage around it, sort of as I well, Mr. Merriweather, gotta be honest here, it looks unnatural to say the least.
Well, just like that thing.
Well, yes.
Can you save the foot? Can you save the leg?
And I look up at him, and I look back at the leg, and I said, we'll have to see. I will check on it again in an hour or two. Normally, if this thing would have just given you a few scratches, this poultice would help to prevent an inflammation, but and I keep rummaging in my backpack, and I hand him a piece of it. Just actually looks like a piece of wood chip, and I say, I would suggest that you chew on this. It's nothing strong. It's just a little bit of willow bark. It will take a little bit the pain before the pain starts to go away. I have something stronger on me, but that's not.
Marie will assist by. Marie can assist by leaning over and helping Wilbur swallow some water from her water skin.
Sure, absolutely. And as this occurs, the wind begins to pick up considerably. And as you are all standing there, Wilbur kind of being treated with the poultice and then maybe being pulled back up to an upright position with the willow bark and teeth. Just as all of this occurs, a sandstorm from out of nowhere begins to swirl and blast into the group proper. And just before the sand meets your group, several things are going to happen. Sybil, as the sand, just as you see and can almost feel the beginning flecks of the materials that hit you, you see Marie pull the map out of Wilbur's, one of his pockets, the map of Ozymandias' realm. And as she pulls it out, the sandstorm hits. Simon, as you are standing there, presumably by Marie, and as the sandstorm hits you, you feel an abrasion hit across your fists and your knuckles. It's as if the sand is focusing its blast just on your hands. And in that brief moment between your blind spot and your now good eye, as you regard what is going on, the scars of your former trade, the marks of a violent life, the crisscrossed white across your knuckles, those scars split in service to others, mend and vanish, the scars themselves blowing away in the beginnings of this sandstorm. Your hands are as they were before you became violent. I'd like you to roll me a ruin roll, and I'd like everybody to roll me, and on your character sheets you'll find this, 3d6, and then I'd like you all to add that total up for me, please.
So do you want me to roll the ruin roll and then the 3d6?
Yes, please.
Ruin stays good.
Okay, so from top to bottom, give me who has the highest. It looks like Katie. Is that right?
I've got a 13.
Oh, do you want?
Yeah, Sybil has a 13.
Marie actually has a 14 because it dropped one for that 3d6. So it's.
Okay, Marie has a 14.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. And then we have a tie between
Wilbur and Sybil, I think.
Let me see. I'm going to give it to Wilbur because he has 6s. Oh my goodness. Let's go ahead and check.
Ooh.
Elias, what would you like to do with that fantastic bounty? And please tell me it involves devil's bargains. If that is the case, my friend, let's hear what they are. I am super happy. Everybody, one of the donations is for $20. You can create a +2 on any roll given to the characters. This donation is called the Legion's Bargain. The donator can create a devil's bargain for everyone here. If they accept, they get a +2 to any roll. Let's see, and then who's the follow? We have. Help me out here, everybody.
So Sybil and Wilbur tied, and then it looked like Agatha and Simon tied at 11.
Okay, I'm going to give that one to Agatha and have Simon come up at the end because two 5s and only 1 5. Okay, so I have Cleric, Ozzy, Katie, Petra, and Mal. So as you are all sitting there, here's what I would like, and here's what happens. Cleric, you turn, and as everything hits, you can see Simon right there. He was the closest to you before you moved towards Wilbur, but as it hits, everyone else vanishes. But for a brief moment, you see Simon. Do you grab him?
Yes. She will release the map in her hand and grab him.
Okay. So, Agatha, as you and the sandstorm hits you, you see Marie reach out and grab Simon, but she is literally right beside you. And as you were reaching for her, she ignored your hand and grabbed Simon. As the sandstorm hits, I would like everyone to roll me ruin, as with the exception of Simon and with the exception of Marie, the other 3 are swept away by the sandstorm.
Wilbur's good.
I think everybody but Agatha, who's having a day, Agatha, that takes you to 5 ruin and enables you to have some trouble if you'd like, or make some trouble if you'd like. Let me see. Yeah, and Elias, just let me know if there's anything that you would like to do with that donation as far as the devil's bargain. If not, if you'd rather be a kind individual, I will just bestow upon them 2 +2s on their rolls. If you would like to make it interesting, I love interesting. So just put it up in chat. That would be perfect. All right, so as everybody is swept away, Agatha, again, that maddening elimination of vocabulary. You even go to yell out, to call out for the names of your friends, and you can't remember them. You don't know who you were here with. You know their faces. You can point to them. You just cannot utter or articulate who or what they're called. So everyone that is lost in the sandstorm, which is currently Sybil, Agatha, and Wilbur, I want you all to describe to me what's going on with your 3 characters.
Well, Elias just pointed out that we managed to hold on to each other as we are carried away by the sandstorm. So I think Wilbur is definitely in some sort of panic and will just, grab anything he can get hold of. And it just happens to be the other two. And hold on for dear life and closing his eyes, sort of scrunching up, and hoping it's over soon.
Sybil would have tried to grab the sapphires back from Wilbur. That was her first priority.
Okay. I will make you this not so devilish bargain. I will either allow you to grab hold of Wilbur and kind of form a human chain, or you can grab the we're calling them sapphires.
Well, I wasn't going to grab hold of Wilbur anyway, so that works for me. She's going to grab the sapphires.
I just have to make sure.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Wilbur, you'd feel the gemstones ripped from your hands.
And then
It's perfect sense because he's grappling for a handhold.
She is going to, using the sand as her sort of cover, and the way she's going to try to distance herself from Wilbur and Agatha, calling out for Marie and Simon as she does. And I think I'm going to use Obscure, cast a ritual to hide myself, just in case the sand falls. I want it to look like I've been lost.
Okay, go ahead and roll me that ruin.
That's just 1d6, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Well, my ruin goes up. Finally.
So, as your ruin goes up, you suddenly begin to experience, and this is a bit fitting, a deep, deep hatred for Marie.
Yeah.
It's not an annoyance. It's bloodthirsty. It's physical. It's something that needs to be expelled or tenderized if you were a butcher. It is a malignant rage.
I think the screams that she was calling out for Marie before were, trying to find her. Now they're through her gritted teeth as she's hunting Marie down.
Okay. And Elias, everyone gets the 2+2s, everyone. So make sure that you are aware of those. If there is a roll that you would like to apply a +2 to, you all have a couple of them. I can stop saying 2.
Thank you.
A huge help. You guys are going to need it since you're going the wrong way. Also, at this time, I would like, if you would, Cleric, roll me a d6 as you were successful in what you were attempting. And you reduce your ruin by 1. So, as this concludes and as all of this begins to swirl with the shouting and the screaming...
One second.
Yes.
Wasn't I also swept away?
You are. But as everyone is swept by the sandstorm and you are deposited with the sandstorm leaving as quickly as it came, Marie and Simon, you are not a part of this. With the two of you coupled together in the way that you were able to shelter one another from the brunt of the physical assault and especially of the mental torment that this strange, quick-moving storm gave. But Agatha, as you hit the ground and as you look up, I would like each of... Let me see. I want Wilbur, Agatha, and Sybil to roll me a d6 for me, please.
Is this a sort of skill-related one or not?
Nope. This is a random draw. Hope you don't get... Okay,
all right,
so
okay.
Let's re-roll Unless, let's see what Ozzy gets. Okay. Let us have Ozzy pop up. Everybody got a 2. Very,
Yep.
very good. Let's all re-roll them one more time, and if not, you're all going to get this. Wilbur, as you turn and as the sandstorm pulls away from the group, Marie and Simon clutch together, able to weather this proverbial storm. The three of you look, and as the three of you watch the wall of sand creep away, Wilbur, you see yourself, a shadowy version of figures clutching at your own perfectly reflected visage. As you are reaching for the others, you see this clear as day. The other two see this clear as day as Sybil and Agatha both witness this separation of mirror images as Wilbur, in the non-sandstorm world, sees Wilbur in the sandstorm reaching for him. Wilbur, I need you to make a ruin roll for me, please.
Ooh. Yep. So if it's equal, it's fine. No, I rolled 1 above, so I'm at 5 now.
You are at 5 now. Boy, oh
Yeah.
boy. This is getting interesting fast. Keep abreast of all of this. You have also triggered the ability to use reduction if you want to start screwing people over, as I have 3 of you that can do that now. So as this all goes away and as the sandstorm finally pulls back, revealing the 5 of you, you no longer see the body of the guard or the resting place of the guard. You don't see any familiar landmarks whatsoever. But as you do turn, all of you notice that there are 2 stone pillars. They're broken at irregular lengths. One is a little over 2 meters tall, and one is a little under 5 meters tall. And flagstones peek through the sand between these 2 pillars as if a road is starting.
This could be the entrance.
Is everyone all right?
And I would like to roll for reduction. And the way I think the desert wants its treasures back from Sybil.
Okay, what do you want to do? Because right now no one can see Sybil.
Oh, right, okay. Then even more, because the desert wants to claim its treasures back and will grab anything it can get.
Okay, so how are you going to assist in that?
This is interesting. I'm just thinking about the sapphires. I know where they are, and I know where they belong.
Okay. I tell you what, think about it and then whisper it to me in Zoom. All of you that have reduction, feel free to whisper it to me in Zoom. And when these rolls start coming in, everyone can just figure out what the hell you all are up to. And that's the better way to keep everyone jumping with the players. And I will explain it to the audience what is going on as soon as it is activated.
So just to clarify, we are all back together again, or are we still separated?
You're spread out by about 50 yards or so. You know, you've been kind of deposited, but you're all within eyesight. You can all see one another with the exception of Sybil, who is not there.
All right.
Is everyone all right? Where's Sybil?
No. I think Marie is.
And just as before, Agatha, only now she was off in her own world for a moment there after the storm stopped, and she starts to look around. What happened? So Sybil, wasn't she with you?
She let go. She grabbed the jewels from me and let go.
Well, that's unfortunate. Wilbur, your foot, the landing, the fall.
That's where I should be. I can bear it.
Are you sure? I can give you a bit more of the willow bark.
Yes, please.
All right. And I do the same thing, take off my backpack and sit down and start to rummage. I take out the same little wooden box where I have all my stuff in, and
Move you.
take a little bottle. Yes, I actually have. And I have the bottle that has the bark chips in it, and I look at it and I say, I take out another bottle. And I say, well, I reckon it's going to get just much worse. I do in fact have something that's a bit more. It's stronger. We have to be very careful with it.
Right. We can worry about it when we're back to safety. But now I need it.
We're wasting time. The desert obviously doesn't want us here.
Sort of take a swig.
Mal, as this is going on,
my dear.
Yeah, you're dead.
Not the whole bottle, like a, yeah.
As the it's being administrated properly, Mal, Simon would feel a gust around him, like the movement of a body, but when you look, you don't see anything. But you, with your trained senses, with knowing, kind of anticipating the blind side when someone's coming in, you're not sure if it has something to do with your restricted vision, but you feel like a passage very close to you, but no one has gone. You see nothing.
I feel like I can't trust myself here, but strange things have happened ever since we got close.
Yes, I was going to ask before the storm hit. What is your eye? Are you something seems to be going on with your vision?
It's fine. We need to move on.
Yes, you're right. And I for the moment, I clutch a. You can't really see what it is, but you can definitely see that I'm wearing a necklace of some sort that's inside my shirt. Let's yes, move ahead.
Fantastic. And I just took a picture of our Zoom chat to show to the group later, so they can see the incredible amount of like treachery that is going on. It's absolutely unreal. Okay, so all of my treacherous people, I'm just going to go ahead and say this for the benefit of the audience so they know that there are hardcore shenanigans afoot already. I need you that if you've just performed treachery, I need you to make your rolls that you need to. Make sure that you whisper them back to me in Zoom. The rolls will be popping up onto Roll20, and then make sure you do your reductions to see if they are effective when you do that. And we're going to get to a couple of these results here pretty quick, but first, we're going to go to Sybil.
So she has obscured herself from the rest of you, and she silently makes her way, carefully picking each step with that dancer skill that she had, that grace of a dancer, until she is right to the opposite side where Simon is standing beside Marie. She's the opposite, and she's like pushed like chest up to her back. I think Marie, you also have this skill. It's something that we both have. So you probably see the little shimmer just for a moment that maybe someone couldn't pick up in the normal eye. And you just hear, hold it together, we're almost there, in your ear.
There's just the barest of nods as she's applying the cream to her face and then touching up. She's actually taking the time to do her makeup. She's got her lipstick out and lipstick on.
And then you also hear after a pause, don't trust the doctor.
So warm here, yes. Oh, she's fanning herself, drinking some water, and then seeing the doctor give Wilbur more medication will once again offer her water skin to Wilbur.
Thank you.
Okay, so as all of this is going, Wilbur, let's start with you, my friend. You are not feeling well.
Mm-hmm.
The ankle and the treatments that have been bestowed upon you don't seem to be they're not taking the edge off. They're not taking anything off. Whatever's going on with your ankle, you can only assume is perhaps maybe even beyond the abilities of Agatha at this point, as the pain has moved to your stomach.
What did you give me? It's getting worse. It shouldn't be feeling anything by now, but
Well, you saw yourself how quickly that got infected. It shouldn't spread that quickly. So even morphine might work only temporarily. But I cannot, in good conscience, give you any more than you already took.
And Wilbur, as you attempt to, drink and just take care of yourself, it's just get your visions blurring. It's everything seems to be kind of breaking down on you. You're not, there are no hit points to lose here, but your body is in a constant state of not necessarily agony, but just pain.
I pull up my trouser leg. Do I see anything that like blood poisoning, where you see sort of red trails, where you see your veins becoming darker? Do I see anything like that?
When you pull up your pant leg, everyone who is in this position, because everybody's kind of huddled over Wilbur, including Sybil, who just whispered, you would all get the wonderful vision of something rippling beneath the skin of Wilbur's leg. It seems to be crawling, slithering.
Cut it out! Cut it out!
And I'd like everyone to roll a ruin roll for me as you see something.
Can I turn the +2 into a -2?
You know what? No.
Wilbur passes.
My ruin went up to 3.
I am at 5 now.
Petra waited to the last. She was like, this is it's just tight.
I'm a 3 as well.
Okay.
To be able to fuck around a little bit longer. I don't want to go yet.
Okay, everyone, keep track of your ruin now, because it's getting beyond me to be able to watch what's going on. Just let me know when you're resting at 5. So as everybody sees this go through, it is at that time that you hear the sounds of the desert again as this pathway that seems to be between these two pillars beckons you. The flagstones getting more and more of them revealed as the wind is blowing and the sand is moving across the flagstones. It is an invitation.
Simon's right. For now, we should try to just walk on.
Yes.
Let's go.
Whoa. You want him to walk on that? No, this is some really,
Look,
we need
it's
to cut
my
it.
leg.
Let me cut it off, and we will take you with us as far as we can.
I need you to
can't
walk.
walk on that. There's something inside your body.
And if
I
you
am
cut
not
it
taking you
off,
with us.
I can't walk at all.
Well,
Walk on one leg with support. It's better than whatever's inside you doing God knows what.
Here's a suggestion. I could place a tourniquet on his leg for now. Hopefully that will stop whatever it is that's crawling underneath the skin to crawl up higher. And I do have the tools to, although not in very sanitary conditions, but I do have the means to take off his foot or leg if necessary. But I do not have to explain to you that cauterizing such a wound in these conditions will not be easy, to say the least.
Come on, let's see if where that road leads, and if we can get inside, it might be easier there. I can hold on until then.
All right, Doctor. I guess I'll trust you for now. We need to go. Every delay brings further disaster.
I'm feeling much better. Let me help you with your things, Wilbur and Mr. Merriweather. And Marie is going to gather up the rest of the maps and the scrolls in in a pouch and put them in her valise and carry them with her.
Okay.
Well, instead of satchels, you can just pick up the satchel if you like.
She will do that.
Okay, as you all begin to move, I'm assuming down the flagstone path.
Mm-hmm.
Sybil, what would you like to do? You are still obscured to...
Sybil is staying behind Simon and Marie, but I think she is... If she can get close enough to do it, God, I'm a horrible person. She is going to try to trip up Wilbur to make it seem like he's weaker than he is.
Okay. Ozzy, I don't know who you pissed off, buddy, but it's a bad one. You
It
okay.
started in the
Unbelievable.
Here's what we're gonna do with this, because this is PvP as it goes. So I am going to ask the following, Ozzy, for detection purposes, just awareness, create a D6 pool for me, and then Katie, for what you would like to do, create a D6 pool for me.
I think the current situation is just one.
Okay.
Can I
go ahead
assist?
and roll that one.
Sybil?
I'm going to use silence and then my regular one, and I'm going to add my +2 to it. One of my +2s to it.
Yeah, I'm using the +2 as well.
Okay.
Ozzy, this is not personal. I want you to know that.
It's a 5 for me.
It's a 5 for me as well.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now is I want a straight roll off again. The +2s are out of play. You would have ended up with 5s here. So roll me the 1d6 for each of you. This is the tiebreaker. Whoever.
No!
5.
No!
So Wilbur, as you are standing there, you're not sure if it is, perhaps it's the sand itself that collects in an odd way just before the trip or the push or the combo comes. You are able to reach out and grab Sybil, despite her being insubstantial.
I sort of feel like a swish of air or something, and hold out my hand and feel something solid. And then that's when Sybil materializes or
She drops her
becomes visible. What are
I
you
was-
trying to do?
I was just seeing if you're still up for the rest of this journey.
I'm right here.
And you're slowing us down.
Right, Wilbur walks off towards the along the path. Or hobbles off.
She looks back at the group. Did I do something wrong? Am I wrong here?
Is that a point?
He will collapse on his own eventually, I'm sure. Just like the one that was following us.
Fine. And she's going to continue on down the road.
So, as you proceed down this path, the sun is setting and the temperature drops rapidly. A circular, mostly collapsed structure is found among the flagstone highway. It is solid, providing both shelter and a reasonably sand-free area. A hole, perfect for a fire pit, rests off-center beneath the dome. On the inside of the dome, an ancient mural, still relatively vibrant considering the environment in which it is in. This mural depicts scenes of life, love, aspiration, and treachery. Violent painted figures are shown in various states of treachery. What do these scenes show as you all begin to kind of get under the dome and out of the desert night?
I think Sybil immediately zeroes in on a scene of a big sort of vulture, like what they had seen earlier, die out in the sand, with its huge claws stealing a baby from its mother and trying to carry it up into the air. And she just sort of stops and looks at that and shakes her head as she continues in further.
And there's from behind a pillar, one person cuts another person's throat.
Okay.
There is a lithe feminine form dressed in swirling cloths of many colors, surrounded by an audience dancing a celebration. There's what appeared, they're holding chalices, goblets. It's a revelry.
Fantastic.
And you see two people. The one on the right is sort of reaching out as if trying to grab something, and the person to the left seems to be running away, holding something, clutching something in their hand. And the person on the right who's reaching out seems to be bleeding.
Simon is torn between two images for a moment. The first is a man and a woman together embracing. It appears to be one of the happier images on this ruin, but looking around, his gaze is drawn to a large coliseum with the faint, faded images of the stands full of people, and in the center of the coliseum is a pair of men in armor wielding weapons in the middle of a bloody battle.
And Simon, as you look and engage the first image that you see of the man and woman in a state of what is happiness, this splash of happiness amidst this rather violent and dark mural, you see as you look, details begin to pop from this image in particular, dragging your eyes, even with the cloud, back from the Colosseum image to this couple, and you see your wife's face begin to edge in profile as it begins to detail in the dulled features that were worn by the sun and the sand gain a new vibrance. And it's Rosalie, is that her name? And
He just whispers her name as he realizes it.
The rest of you, as you look around and see the various states that you described, the throats being cut and the dance and the deception, I'd like you to give me somebody from your character's past or present that is involved in the image that you described. Let's go in reverse order. Or let's just start Kat. In the dance, who's there for Marie?
In the crowd, distinguished from the other members of the audience, is a very well-dressed man and a very well-dressed woman standing together but not close. It's as if the artist drew an intentional gap between them, although the two are also obviously related in some way, close together. And she sees the face of the Duke, who was responsible for her downfall among court society when he discovered that he was not the only member of his household that she was involved with.
Who was the other member?
His wife. And that is the female figure.
Fantastic. Ozzy.
These are two people Wilbur has read about in the Secret Scrolls. This was at the time the family was taken over the doing the pact with Ozymandias people. And one brother, Reginald, was objected to that deal, and he was killed by Wilbur's great-grandfather, Ferdinand.
Very good. Agatha.
So as both of these people slowly come into focus, it first looks as though both of them are Agatha. But then it becomes apparent that the person on the right is older and just looks very similar to Agatha because it's her mother. And she is the one who's bleeding profusely and then running from her, clutching something in her hands, is Agatha herself, crying. But as she focuses in on that something in her hand, she can see and almost hear it pulsating or pulsing.
Okay. Katie.
When she first looked at the mural of the vulture pulling the child away from the mother, she didn't look close enough, but as she stares at it longer, she notices the dark hair of the woman and the familiar sprinkle of freckles that she also has. And she realizes that the woman is also her mother, Alice. And as she looks at the vulture, she can see the in the shape of the feathers, the sigil of the house of the man who took her away from her mother when she was a young girl, that made her miss many, many years with her mother.
Very good. So, as you all are able to bed down for the night and take some measure of rest, Marie, that heaviness is still about you, and you fall into a deep sleep as the rest of you kind of drop into what is camp life for adventurers and treasure hunters. But it is throughout the course of this night in the great cold dark of the desert, Agatha, you can't sleep. You do. You sleep for 20, 30 minutes and then wake up. 20, 30 minutes and then wake up. And from your position, kind of with the cracks of the sundered dome, every time that you wake up, the stars are different. Completely new constellations that you have never seen before. They are arrayed in silent chorus. And when you close your eyes and awaken, a new chorus watches intently the goings on this particular patch of desert. Close your eyes, and they open, and the stars themselves seem closer, as if they're leaning in. The great celestial bodies, though vast and distant, seem to be aware that something is about to happen. As you close your eyes and open them one last time, dawn has struck. Stars are gone. But I would like you to roll me a ruin roll. And so the potential oblivion of space is thwarted as the doctor awakens, tired. But you are all back together, and the flagstone path continues.
I would check up on Wilbur's leg right after getting up.
This time when you look, you don't see anything moving beneath the surface. There isn't, the denizens of some brackish swamp just peeking beneath the surface of his skin. However, now those needles of black veinage have crept up to just below the knee, one of them lancing into the inner thigh.
Sorry, repeat the last part, please.
The dark veinage has crept up for the most part just beneath the knee, but if you roll up the pant leg far enough, you'll see that one of them, like a fracture or a fissure, is lanced up into his inner thigh.
Well, Mr. Merriweather, how are you feeling in general?
How do I feel? Do I feel worse than yesterday?
Oh, you feel okay. You're feeling better. The worst of it's probably behind you.
Seems to be what they gave me yesterday. Seems to be what help. Seems to have helped. Yeah, I'm sort of okay. I don't feel worse than yesterday. I think you can even stand. And Wilbur
Yes,
gets
but
up and...
you did notice the.
Yes.
I mean, if you can stand, I'm not going to cut off anybody's limbs, just like that. But I mean, I'm out of the water with this. To be honest, I can't foresee what is going to happen.
Agatha, when you're this close to Wilbur too, you can, as you're looking back and forth, you notice that several smaller capillaries creep into the corners of his eyes towards the pupil, and they too are this jet, this magenta, this dark purple.
Okay. I take notice of it.
As Sybil wakes up and is gathering her things and sees as she just stares at Wilbur for a long moment. You're looking great this morning.
Thank you. I feel much better too.
Well, that's wonderful to hear.
Maria's probably fixed a little breakfast, taking whatever food they have. They had a fire pit, warmed up something, and is putting herself together, getting ready again. And we'll walk back over, again, offering the water skin to Wilbur, asking Agatha if there's perhaps lancing that might help.
Sorry, accidentally muted myself. If they had, I think, to be honest, I think I should have started cutting
We
yesterday.
need to carry on.
When it was still wriggling.
Don't worry about me.
I look up at Wilbur and then at Marie and I say,
Look, I've held you up. I've held us up enough already. Let's go.
But we're eating still, so here, eat some breakfast, have some water, and then we will go.
We'll
Let the
eat.
doctor at least.
We will eat some twinks.
Simon would have helped with the breakfast by starting the fire, and he actually comes over to the group of them with a small knife that is glowing red. We should see how it reacts to fire. It's dangerous.
Keep that away from me.
You are ill, Mr. Merriweather.
I'm fine.
You are far from fine.
What does the doctor think we should do?
well, I could test and probe, yes, for sure. But I'm not going to start doing surgery on someone who's not willing to. I mean,
I'm not suggesting surgery right now. I just suggest we learn what we can. Things fear fire. Evil things.
don't forget that this is
Perhaps.
a desert. It is always hot in here, at least during the day.
You're not wrong, but the knife is hot now. We can see. What is wrong with learning more?
An experiment on Mr. Merriweather right here. Wouldn't it make more sense that we go and start searching so that we may find what it was we came all here to take away and take home? We all knew what the possible risks were. So Mr. Merriweather suddenly becomes worse, or if he becomes a danger to us, and the same goes for anybody else here, I would say, then we can act accordingly.
Thank you.
That is, in fact, my fear, Doctor, that he becomes a danger to us. We do not know
not
what
a
is
danger
going
to
on.
anyone.
I look Simon straight in the eye and I said, Don't you worry, Simon. I know how to make someone bleed out within seconds. And with that, I just start getting ready for further searching.
That makes Marie smile. She just kind of looks at Agatha and just smiles at her, like, "Oh, you too," without saying a word. Just kind of looks at her and smiles.
Well, then, if we're not going to take preemptive measures, perhaps we should, as Mr. Merriweather said, continue on this journey. I am getting rather bored sitting here listening to all of you argue.
We might as well start out while it's still cool.
So as you all gather up your things and begin to take back onto your yellow brick road, the flagstones, as the rest of you are getting ready and departing, Simon, as you kind of get all of your things together and your eyes travel back up to the mural with the face of Rosalie, but this time the partner is gone and she is alone, and in her hand is a handkerchief, and embroidered on it, it says, "You are right."
He just mumbles to himself as he packs his things, slowly losing confidence in Mr. Merriweather and perhaps more in the group.
Okay, so as you all continue your journey along the flagstones, it winding and revealing itself to you with the gusts and the breath of the desert, the stones opening in a wave and then closing in a drift behind you as you go deeper and deeper into Ozymandias' land. But it is around midday when you feel a rumble. It begins to travel through the flagstones at first, and then the sand around you ripples as if it were water with drops hitting it. You can see the rumble and the sound waves through the
Do
sand.
you hear that?
The sound turns to shouting and shaking as 1,000 angry voices enter the desert air. Wraith-like warriors, at least 1,000, pour from your left, the east. They rise from the sands themselves, dripping with red light. Their assault takes the shape of a vast blood-colored crescent moon. It blocks the north, the south. The way west is clear, but it is off the path. They are coming, and as one, they draw great bone bows. What would you like to do?
Hide.
I would like to obscure myself, if I can.
Roll that ruin roll for me.
Yeah. So I'm good.
I would like to cast. I was in the sort of getting ready, sort of kneeling down to grab my stuff as that thing happened. And sort of since it was rumbling, I'm staying on the ground, sort of trying to keep my balance. And as that wave comes from the left, I just mumbling, not again. And then I cast. Can we use rituals on other PCs?
If they're willing, sure.
Oh, damn it. That's not gonna help me.
I mean, you never know. You could ask.
No. Fuck yeah, I'm just gonna go hide.
Okay, so as this crescent is coming towards you all, they're charging. They're not staying stationary. They're sweeping the area. The area to your west is open. To the right is open. There's a small hill that rises. If you want to hide, that is really your only bet. If you want to try to evade them as they charge, they are several, wraiths deep. But you may do whatever you would like.
Yeah, I'm trying to evade.
Okay. So if you're trying to evade and stay basically where you are and not go up the hill, let me know that. If you are rushing up the hill, let me know that whenever you say you're going to try to hide. Any movement at all from everybody, just let me know. The west is clear. Anything else? Let me know.
Maria was trying to drop into the ditch on the side of the road and is hoping that they'll just pass over the top of him.
Okay.
I'm running up that hill.
Maria's running up the hill as well, and she's looking. I think she would look to see what Sybil is doing. Catch out of the corner of her eye, Sybil obscuring herself, and then look for Simon to see what Simon is doing, and head into his direction as well. This is the man with the sword, and is the big strong guy. So she's in that direction.
I know I said Sybil obscured herself, and that still holds true, but she is also running up that hill, Greg, trying to dip between any kind of pocket she can find to not let them know her location.
Right. Serpentine pattern. I gotcha. Okay, so everybody that is running up the hill, almost in a scene from 300, arrows shall blot out the sun. The bone arrows begin to rain down on the area. If you have something that you think might help you in getting around these or evading or detecting them coming in, let me know, and everyone create your dice pool, please.
I'm going to use my Skilled in Grace to add to mine.
Perfect.
And I'm going to also add my +2.
I'm going to use my Stealth and +2.
I'm definitely going to use a +2, but I don't think that I have forensics, herbs, and surgery. I don't think that's going to aid me in any way here.
Now remember, you may take a devil's bargain.
True.
Or you can elect to do a ruin roll, use a dark die to help you out a bit. You really, I would suggest maybe not using the dark die for you, because the only way it helps you is if it makes you go nuts. So, it helps me out, but no, it doesn't.
So what was it with the devil's bargain?
It's a devil's bargain. And I will ask the group, just so you know what you're dealing with, what is a devil's bargain that Agatha could be offered that if she accepts, she will get a D6?
She loses all her equipment?
That's what I was thinking. She loses all of her surgery, medical tools.
I was thinking she loses she loses more of the knowledge, but this time it's a permanent loss.
Mal, what do you think, bud?
Yeah, I said ooh when Kat said her idea. I like that one.
Okay.
I think it has to be a loss, of she's got to lose something in order, like give up something, equivalent exchange, that kind of thing.
Sure, absolutely. Let's say that that problem that you had before, remembering you still know how to do it, you just you will lose the ability to articulate your trade, and it will be permanent. But you get a D6.
So basically, I still know how to do it. I just can't explain it anymore.
Correct.
Put it in words.
If you were asked to teach, if you were asked to, perform
all my secrets
something.
Anyway. So to be honest, well, no, actually I take it back. It would hurt because it would prevent me from reveling in in the glory of the moment when I return to the academy to boast with the finds that I made. So I wanted to give a big speech and show them all how wrong they were, that I could do it, that I could mess with death and life. And god damn it, I couldn't do that then anymore. But fine. I'd take it.
The bargain has been struck. You may roll a 2d6.
And then add I can still add one of the +2s, right?
Correct.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Cool.
Sybil got a 6 for going up the hill.
So 5 and then would be a 7 then. No, wait, that's not mine.
A
3,
5.
It would be a 5, yeah.
Okay. And Cleric, you used one of yours as well? One of your +2s?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's actually a 7.
So if anybody got anything below a 6, let me know on your run up the hill. I know that Agatha did. I think everybody else is okay, right? Let me see. Oh, Simon, I need from roll.
I haven't rolled. I was letting everyone was talking, and I'm like, we're just gonna wait for a second. So Simon pulls out his sword and a small buckler type shield, and he's going to go up the hill, but he's not running. But he's going to use athletics because walking up sand is hard work. He's going to use the +1 just because. He's going to use defense because he's trained in defensive tactics, which is definitely what he's doing. And he's got his weapon out, so I'm going to use that too. For
Okay.
a total of 4. And hopefully I don't get fucked by roll 20, but we'll see.
I found that usually whenever you generate a nice big dice pool, that's exactly what happens. Oh, there you go. You got a 6. Good job.
Nice. 6.
So as Simon is going up, as these bone arrows are coming down, you're even swiping a few out of the air as you're kind of, knocking them aside. Everybody else, maybe in part due to the efforts of Simon to kind of, sentinel up a bit and deflect as these things are coming in around the group. It is the doctor who you feel just a line open up on your arm as one of the arrows slips through. And as it slips through and tears at the side, you can feel it's not a terrible wound at all. It's even almost just enough. It's a bleeder, what you would call them. But as soon as it hits the ground, you realize that in addition to your trade and your craft and the jargon of education, you can't remember the name or the location of the academy from which you were expelled. And if anyone were close enough, as the shaft of the bone arrow hits the sand, the name of the academy is written along it.
So she just stands there dazed for a second, similar to what her reaction was the last few times that effect hit her. But then you see for the first time panic rise, and you can see it in her face, and said, no, I had it. It was right there. And she clutches again whatever that necklace is that she has under her shirt. I know I have to go back. I have to show them then. And yeah, so I just sort of stumble a few paces as if I'm looking for the answer in the desert sand.
And as you stumble, the desert slowly grabs the arrow and pulls it beneath, taking with it a bit of the memories of Agatha, a nice trophy for its trouble. As the rest of you and Agatha eventually stumble to the top of the hill, in full retreat as this crescent of death begins to encircle the hill and rise. You would all look and you see that there is a fallen frame and a hole appears as if it's a sinkhole, just opening into darkness. And the stone frame itself blows clean of the clinging sand, and it says, "The Wonders of Ozymandias."
We need to get to that. Do you all see it?
Is that on the other side of the hill?
It's at the very top. It's almost like
Oh,
a
right, okay.
hole
Right.
with a fallen frame.
But
Yep.
Wilbur is still by the side of the road, hoping he wasn't hit by the arrows. Wilbur did not run up the hill.
I know. That's why I didn't have you roll anything to evade getting shot. As the rest of you are up there, you would realize that Wilbur is not with you. The hole awaits, and I need to know what the group on the top of the hill is going to do.
I'm jumping in that hole, Greg.
Okay.
Well, can we maybe light a torch first? See what's down there.
I like, Marie's like, we should wait, well, let's light a torch, and Sybil's like, let's get the fuck in here.
I don't think
She's not
I mean,
lighting a torch with all these wraiths around her. She's
Do you
going
really
in.
want to see what's down there? Well, we've all seen Indiana Jones, right? It's just snakes.
And if I'm
Right.
going to die, I don't want to see it.
Okay, so we're gonna, for the sake of the narrative, Sybil just runs and jumps, and as soon as she passes across the threshold of the frame, she is swallowed by darkness. You have moments. What would the other of you like to do? The ones on top of the hill.
Marie would reach for Simon's hand, or his arm if he's got. I think he's still holding a shield and a sword. She would reach for his arm. I have the maps. She has the gems. Shall we?
I don't see much other choice.
And then she will pull out a torch or something, and throw it back down the hill towards the race in the direction of where Wilbur is hiding, as a misdirection.
To expose Wilbur, or
Yes.
to okay.
Yes, to pull attention away from them, the race, so that we can.
Okay, give me a pool of dice that you think is best serving the murder of your friend and the tossing of a torch.
Well, given that she's an assassin and murder is one of her abilities, along with stealth, misdirection, and flattery to get Simon to do what she wants to do. Can I use all of them?
You can't use flattery on Simon. This is the act of tossing the torch. So
Okay. So
we're
stealth,
just- yeah.
murder, and misdirection.
Okay.
All right. So that's.
I'm not sure if I had to sit and think up a skill set best used for exposing a friend via torch. Stealth, murder, and misdirection. It's like that's what they thought of. Like the writer said, okay, if someone's gonna stealth, murder, and misdirection for a torch throw, that's amazing. All right.
That would be 3 6s.
It's a sign of the beast. Okay, that's great. All right. Then what do you do? The torch flies through the air with the aim of like an Olympic archer. Simon, Marie, and Agatha, you've seen Sybil jump inside. What would the three of you like to do?
I mean, Marie said she had part of what I need, and that Sybil's got the other part. So if we're jumping in, I guess Marie and I are jumping in.
Agatha?
I was just staring into that hole and waiting for any sound from Sybil.
No sound. No
The
thump.
water's fine.
No thump or splat, but no sound.
Okay. Yeah, I'm jumping too.
And as they all disappear, we go back down the hill as Wilbur, in your makeshift, somewhat environmentally friendly trench here at the Glowing Sands, you are pretty confident that you are not being targeted, as you don't see any arrows kind of hitting the sand at the top of the lip of the trench, and you're pretty sure that you have, at the very least, not drawn enough attention to warrant merit until a torch lands about a foot away from you in the trench, and it burns with a crackle, a pleasant sound of a campfire. But as your eyes focus, the magenta veins reflected with the torch light, as you look up, you see surrounding the trench faces and faces and faces looking down at you.
Can I use delay to get away from where the torch has landed?
Absolutely. And describe, please, what the ritual delay is.
Wilbur sees something flying towards him, realizes this is bad news, does this sort of thing in front of his face. The torch stops. Wilbur rolls along the trench, like 10 yards away. And time continues.
Okay. So as it strikes 15, 20 yards down the trench, there is still a congregation of the wraiths. And they are everywhere. I need you to roll me some type of stealth check at this point, Wilbur, even from being where you are.
Let's see. There's absolutely nothing skill-wise I can use here.
And while you're thinking about it, roll me that ruin roll for using your ritual.
Yep, let's do the ruin roll first. That's fine, because I am on 5. And then straight to 6. With a +2, I still have left a 5.
Okay. So with a 5, you are able to evade the majority of the wraith eyes that are scanning the area. However, one from the pack that, much like a slower group member, gets there a bit late, turns and sees just a hint of movement. But it's not anything that you've done to give yourself away, Wilbur. It is the bubble of your own flesh around your head that lifts your hat at the most inopportune moment, as something beneath the surface of your skin is manipulating your body and thus gave you away, as you see this creature turn and fire a bone arrow that strikes you in the shoulder. As you look down at the shaft, as it quivers to a stop, it breaks and bleeds away, and you don't remember who you are. And on the shaft of the bone arrow, it says, Wilbur Merriweather, as it sinks into the sand. But let's cut back inside, as we have our 4 intrepid explorers. You land within an area. None of you take any damage. You kind of slide a bit. It's a little more serious version of the Goonies as you come to a rest. And as you stand, you are in the middle of a four-way intersection. 3 of the directions are utter darkness. But the fourth is a walkway above a deep, dark pit. It is made of the same flagstones that you walked from the edge of the map to this point. Swinging in erratic and in sometimes almost impossible physics-wise, great pendulums with blades swing and intersect across this bridge. But as wondrous and as fascinating as that sight is, it is the one beyond it. At the end is a relief and a mural made of pure gold, depicting what looks to be a large crowd kneeling in front of a ruler. The crowd numbers 36 in total, and each figure is made of massive gemstones, a few of which the size of grapefruits have fallen to the sandy floor surrounding the relief. The ruler, the one that is being worshipped, is a massive figure 4 meters tall, made entirely of diamond, the biggest of which is easily the size of a child's head. Even from this distance, the craftsmanship is exquisite, with each stone fit in an almost impossible depiction of the human form. But as you all look and see this wondrous sight, past the swinging pendulum blades, you notice that in the murals themselves are the faces of the ones from your past, wives and mothers, anyone that means anything to you that you have lost along the way, and they whisper to you, "If you kill one of your friends, I can take their body." And they whisper more, "All of this can be yours, if but one heart beats in the ruins. The pendulums will stop. Let us help you, let us help you." What do
We
you
hear
do?
this aloud or in our mind.
You're not sure. But you
Marie
all
will
hear it.
actually, in her mind, whisper back, "The one who looks like this," and she will use the ritual of mirror, and she will do the hat and the helmet and the pit helmet and the clothes and the face of Wilbur. "The one who looks like this outside. He is yours if this is ours."
For a moment, they listen, but then immediately it's almost like a static burst of protestation. "No, it's too many. We need one. We need one heartbeat. One. You all hear this. Too many living.
Agatha in her state of let's just say not fully being there anymore, a little bit. So as she hears the voices and sees the face of her mother, she takes off the necklace that she was wearing, and the end of it dangle 3 tiny bones. One of them sort of with a tip to its end. And if anybody takes a closer look, he would probably be able to tell that this used to be a finger. And I say just to myself, I have to wait for the right moment, Mother, but I can return this to you for now. If you could just give me a little bit more time, then I will make your heart beat again.
You hear your mother's voice. "Kill one, and I can return. Kill one, and I will take their body."
And as I kneel down and place the necklace in the sand. And in doing so, I reach into my coat and take out a scalpel that I had in there. And since I'm not interested in those gems at all, I'm trying to, I look at the others who are presumably staring at those gems. And
Sybil's watching the doctor. She's been watching the doctor since she got that necklace. I think that's fair to say. She's been keeping her eyes on the doctor since she got that necklace. But she hasn't made a move toward you. She's just curiously watching what you're doing.
Okay, cool. Let's play it like this. I slowly, as if in trance, I take out the scalpel and I intensely stare at Marie. And then very slowly my head turns towards, first my head turns towards Sybil, and then my eyes lock with hers.
Doctor? Mind to fill us in what you're doing? I don't particularly like the way you're staring at my sister.
Well, we have to get forward in some way or another, don't we? And I attack Sybil instead.
Grab those dice that you want to use right now, everybody.
What is this attack? What is this? Are you like lunging toward me? How does this look?
What we're gonna do first is, before we do anything that's PvP or any other type of rolls, I want everybody in this chamber to roll me a ruin as you are being assaulted by the voices of...
Okay, I'm good.
I'm okay.
I think
It's
everybody's
less than
okay.
or equal to you're okay? You just can't roll
Yep.
higher than it, correct? Okay.
Can't roll higher, correct. Can't roll higher.
Oh, by the way, Greg, I completely forgot about that, but the gesture of returning my mother's bones, would that be enough to the place to be considered for reduction?
Yes, because if you're setting, yes, I will absolutely allow that because you are giving in to what is being presented here.
Mm-hmm. So I would just roll 1d6, can't speak, 1d6 to see if I can.
Yes, please. Yes, please. There you go.
I'm just a little bit less crazy.
As you attack.
I mean, the perfect time to be less crazy, right?
Right. So what I would like you to do is both of you see this coming. We're going to say that for this particular moment, Simon and Marie, you all are in your own thing right now, but this is taking place in the beats of seconds as Agatha launches at Sybil. Create your dice pool, and let me know what you want to do here.
Okay, so I'm definitely have the one standard. I use the other because I definitely want to use the same slash movement, but I'm going for a throat.
Okay.
Honey, we have just about 30 minutes left. We have to get somewhere here.
I mean, I deserve this. I'm not mad.
All deserve it.
Worry not, little sister. I will avenge you.
And then, I mean, since I'm down one ruin, I could, wait, nobody has used a black dice so far, right?
No, they have not.
Yeah, cool. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. So
I'm going to use my just cuz, and I'm going to use skilled and grace. I'm a dancer. Can I take a devil's bargain on this, Greg?
Sure. The devil's bargain is this. You can take an extra D6, but harm will come to Marie.
Like life-ending harm or just an itty bitty bit of harm?
The devil's bargain is harm is harm. You have your
Yeah.
definition, I have mine.
I'll take the devil's bargain.
Okay.
One last question. I have 1 + 2 left. Can I use that?
Yes,
in
you may.
this?
Yeah, we used them before, so against PvP.
And should I roll them separately, or are we just going to say that the third die is then the black die?
Correct. With the last one that you roll will always be your, whether it's in a string or it's in an actual roll, the last one is the dark die. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Here we go.
I got a 6. Oh, we both got a 6.
And then, yeah, technically it would be an 8 if that means anything.
Yeah, an 8 for me because the devil's bargain.
Oh, the devil's bargain is just an extra die.
Oh, never mind then. Okay, then yeah, Agatha wins.
Yeah, so with an 8, as you go for the neck, you do strike true. It's not the vein, the jugular that you were going for, but a cut is made in Sybil's throat. And Sybil, you immediately hear your voice almost rasp as your vocal cords are compromised. All of a sudden, it just gravel erupts through the blood and the compromised tissue. And it is at that moment that from the top of the cave, a large rock breaks free as the sound of this croak comes out of your mouth, and at a perfect pitch breaks free this rock that drops onto Marie. I will allow the following. I will allow Simon to act, and I will allow Marie to act, to create a die pool to either evade if you are Marie, or take Marie's place if you are Simon.
All right, I'm gonna try and shove her out of the way and take her place, I guess.
And
Give me your-
Marie is going to offer the use of her misdirection to, as she sees Simon coming towards her, she's going to angle his shield so that the rock doesn't come straight down on them, but it is angled and will deflect away from them towards Agatha, at the risk of Marie breaking her arm as the impact is such.
What we're going to do is the devil's bargain is no matter what happens, your arm's going to break, but we will give an extra D6 to Mal to roll. If that's how we'll...
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so I definitely, so I might, just because the extra from the devil's bargain, athletics definitely, because I need to get to her fast and push this boulder or push her. Defense, I've got my shield out, and I'm going to use one of my +2s because I still have both.
Go for it, buddy. Strategic player there, Mal. Mal hoarded those +2s until he knew there was an end game.
I've played lots of Cthulhu lately, man. You gotta hold on to those bonuses.
Heck yeah, buddy.
Didn't get a 6.
Okay, but
You
you
added
did...
+2 though.
Yeah, so you would have had a 7 with the 5,
Oh,
right?
yes. Okay, so you can add the +2 to any of the. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's a 7.
I'm not.
Okay.
So yeah, you're able to get in there, and you, with the aid of the benefit that Marie gave you, you're able to get your shield up in time, but it does knock you down with the motion of getting her out of the way. Marie, you're able to lift him, basically kind of like readjust his elbow, but when you do so, your arm is the brunt of the fall of the rock, and white bone pierces skin beneath your only dress as it tense up on the side, and you can see that your left arm is shattered and completely, it doesn't function. You can feel it because it hurts like hell, but with all of that going on and with this progression in place, everyone hurt in one way or the other. Simon, the only one that's more prone than actually injured. Agatha on the edge of madness, but pulling back a bit with blood coming down off of the scalpel. I'm going to allow everyone an action at this point. We can do some type of initiative, but I want to know what everyone's intention is first, and then we'll see where we go.
I would like, I know what Sybil wants to do. Sybil's going to step off the ledge. She's done. But she's going to take Agatha with her if at all possible.
Okay. So you're going to, this is a, what do I want to say? Moriarty and
yeah, this
Sherlock
is
Holmes
Reichenbach.
from, right.
What is it? Yeah, I can't remember.
Reichenbach.
Yeah, Reichenbach. Thank you.
Okay.
If she's going down, the person who took her down is going with her.
Fantastic. So get your dice pull up. Agatha, get your dice pull up to not be Moriarty. And Simon and Marie, you are both sitting there. But as you are both kind of lying, Marie, your arm shattered. Simon, you're just on the ground. Simon, you would hear your wife's voice. Ben. And you would see, as this all slows down, almost as if a spotlight is put on Marie, and you get the distinct feeling that only one thing stands between you and what you need.
Okay, I'm going to use another black die because I don't see how trying to... No, actually, I think I'm going for 3. If it's okay, if that makes sense, because yeah, Agatha, as soon as she drew blood, like something switched in her head, and even though she can't grasp the concepts behind the things that led her here anymore, she still remembers very well what she wanted to find, and so she's lost her last bit of pretense. So she would try slashingly to keep Sybil away. Would that be enough for you to allow me to roll that second die for my background or skills?
Let's do this. Sybil wants to take you over the edge. You want to kill Sybil. So you're each going to roll as if you want to do what you want to do. Sybil's going over the edge and taking you with her. You're attacking. Whoever wins, that's what happens.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm going to use grace and silence, hoping I can get a grab on her when she isn't paying attention.
Cool. And I'm going to do the same 3 die roll as before. So I'm using a dark die again. Hold on a sec.
I got a 6.
So, Simon, as everything slows down and you see Marie as the one of 3 remaining obstacles just over her shoulder as she's cradling her shattered arm, you see Sybil jump and with a dancer's grace evade a slash from a scalpel and seemingly committing suicide into the pit. But just as she passes, you see her hand reach and grab the collar of Agatha, who is jerked back, and the 2 of them tumble into darkness. Simon, you are the only person that is unhurt at this time. What would you like to do, my friend?
Simon's gonna defy expectations and go running down the corridor into the blades as opposed to killing Marie to get them to stop.
Okay. So as you run through here, create a dice pool for me.
Okay. Just because athletics to get to speed, I don't have grace, but I can maybe be fast enough. Defense, my shield's out. I'm gonna I've only got 3 ruins, so I'm gonna add a black die for an extra dice, and then I'm gonna use my +2.
Okay. So the last one of your roll will be your black die. Go ahead.
Nope. Not even that +2 helped.
So as you're running, you make it through the first, the second, the third. You're using all of the skills from the Colosseum. You make it, and as you're moving, you see the diamond head of the relief, the king, the ruler, look up, and you see 2 perfectly cut sapphires open, exactly like the ones that you found out in the sand. And with a cock of the great crystalline head, you feel your foot betray you as it slips off the side. Marie, you watch as a pendulum takes Simon in the chest. It pierces him, sweeps him off the railing, and then it yanks back, and you see his body tumble into the dark.
Too bad. Such a waste. She's going to take a piece of cloth wrapped around the lower half of her, or right about her elbow, just above her elbow, and then she is going to pull to reset that arm, and then create a sling for the arm, because this is not the first time she's had an arm broken.
You do everything that you say, and you're able to set and stabilize the arm as best as you can. And during that time, you notice that the pendulums have slowed to an almost imperceptible crawl. They just creep through the air now. The ability to dodge them, perfect. But as you were doing this, the great crystalline figure of Ozymandias has crossed the bridge and stands at the end, not looking at you, but looking back towards the ceiling and the hole, when a figure drops down into the intersection. The figure pulls itself up. It's wrapped in tatters with bandages all around it. Bandages that are stuck with the weeping of leprosy. The leper steps forward. I brought you to Ozymandias. I deserve something. I brought you to Ozymandias. I deserve my share. And the wraps begin to drop away. And you see your own aged face looking back at you. I brought them. Oh, great Ozymandias, I brought myself. For you.
Marie's going to throw a knife at the creature, this thing that might be her, might not be her. She doesn't really care. And she's just, I mean, with her assassin skills, is going to sink, 2 throwing knives, one aiming for the neck and for the chest.
As they leave your hand, they freeze in the air. As from the great crystalline figure you hear,
Yes, my faithful subject. You have given me 1,000 souls. You are free.
and the knives clatter to the ground. Click, click, click. The wraps slither through the air, and begin to wrap around you, Marie. They take you from the toes up past your broken arm, ripping it and wrenching it from the sling you've crafted, forcing it into a misshapen amalgamation of a limb.
You are free, Marie. Your wishes await.
And the leper bows, and the great sapphire eyes turn to you, Cat.
You are mine, Marie. Your service begins.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we will end this session of Trophy.
Marie's thinking, yeah, I've been servicing men all my life. This is no big deal. Courtesan. I mean, she was a courtesan. What's wrong?
Goodness.
Absolutely brilliant.
Oh,
That
that
was
was
super
super
fun.
Greg. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that one. Jeez, oh, Pete's. Great
Although I wish-
system.
Oh, sorry.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I wish that under certain circumstances that one could use rituals on others. I had picked them specifically for those purposes.
Oh, you picked PvP rituals. I love it. I love it.
I mean, sort of. I mean, they were very utilitarian. You know, I had bind, and because I wanted to bind Simon to make him fall and give him to the race. And then I had this brilliant desiccate, but then we were in the fucking desert where everything is already dried out anyway.
The fucking desert. Right. Absolutely. Everybody, if you take a look at in chat, I have posted the link to the drive through RPG link. Pick this game up. There are several expansions that come out with the Codex e-magazine. It is really, really fascinating. It is really, really fun. This is a perfect party game. It's actually recommended to be one game master and maybe 2 or 3 players. So there's a lot of really fun incursions out there that have been created by. In fact, we have the link for the Twitter for the creator of this incursion, Shifting Sands. It's really good. I added in the Ozymandias stuff, but it's just a fantastic. I loved it. I mean, you have these people killing each other within beat 1.
And because it's not set in mechanically, you could be able, to just write your own for your favorite setting.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, in fact, we were toying around
Earlier in chat, someone suggested Cthulhu. Yeah, that would work as well, or some other great old one.
Right. In fact, we had several. I suggested this one, and then we had a forest one where we were going after DB Cooper's treasure. So who knows? A lot of fun stuff. But let's go around and talk to everybody. Let's go with Katie. Katie, you killed somebody. Yay!
Yeah. My goal was either to kill someone or to go mad. So I accomplished what I came here to do. I didn't care about the treasure. I'm Katie. You can find me everywhere on the internet at Katie Face. I will be back on my regular off the table schedule, well, semi-regular next week. We'll be back for a Last from the Awful Sea on Tuesday. I'm very excited to come back to that. Every Thursday, I'm also on Off the Table playing Urban Shadows. Tomorrow, we will be on our finale of Ryutama at noon PST, I believe. And then that night, if you'd like to see another game run in this system, Mal and I on my channel, it's our final episode of Cthulhu Dark of a 4-part series we're doing. And last time we left off, one of our players was staring down the barrel of a gun held by his dead wife. So if you want to see what that's about, come see that tomorrow at 6 on twitch.tv/KatieFace.
Fantastic, everybody. Links in chat. Please follow Katie if you don't already. A lot of fantastic RPG content, and she's nice, which is always a bonus. Speaking about somebody that's not, no, I'm joking. Ozzy, how are you doing, my friend? And I think it goes without saying that you did not escape the 1,000 rays.
No. I sort of had no idea what to expect, to be honest. I knew we were all going to our doom, but how it actually would happen, I had no idea. And I absolutely loved it. It was I was ill-equipped for what was happening because I thought it might go a slightly different way, less physical, more exploration. But never mind. I really, really enjoyed it. You can find me on Twitter at Carohand, where you can find out what I'm up to. I'm in 2 regular games at the moment. One is Monday nights on Skakat's channel. We're playing Coriolis. And Tuesday nights, that's both 8 p.m. UK time, Tuesday nights at Capricorn Cross's channel, and we're playing Curse of Strahd.
Fantastic, my friend. Thank you very much.
Oh, and I would like to thank Petra for suggesting to play this game.
Exactly, which is a fantastic segue. As I was just about to say, none of this happens if Petra hadn't said, hey, anybody want to play? And I got tagged, luckily, and I was like, I do, and here we are. So, my friend, how are you? This is the first time you're on the channel, so of course, welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed the game. I did enjoy Agatha.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it at the beginning I said that I was going to draw immense satisfaction from sending a terrible person to her doom, but I have to admit that at the end I almost felt bad for her, but she did so many awful things. I just dropped a few hints, but she went from just a very harmless, okay, what can I do? I lost my mother to a terrible sickness. What can I do that the next time somebody suffers that I can prevent them from dying? And then somehow she went to, okay, let's see how I can bring back the dead or just elongate life, and then she experimented, and
So
the rest is history.
Did Agatha enhance Wilbur's injuries, Wilbur's poisoning?
Willingly sipped some hemlock, my dear.
Ooh.
Oh, listen, Ozzy, that's not the half of it. Half of the people that you see here were trying to kill you. They were all trying to kill you. When I took a picture, it was everybody's design to kill Wilbur. It was like, I'm going to try this. And they didn't know everyone was like stumbling on themselves to get their murder plan out. I was like, this is the best.
I'm now surprised I lasted as long as I did.
Fantastic.
And I didn't expect that to go so well, because I had just typed to Greg, okay, I want to slip in some poison. As you knew from my bio, I have hemlock and hellebore on me. And then I said, yeah, I've got some morphine, just sip it. Okay, so he just drank some hemlock.
That's what I got. That's the message I got. He just drank hemlock. I'm like, well, okay, let's roll for that then. Fantastic.
Yes, so no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, because I think it doesn't happen. At least I've never played a game where from the get-go that you're supposed to fail. That we all grew up with movies like Indiana Jones, where there's a cool white dude who pillages all sorts of relics, but he gets away with it. He's fine. And that for once you have a game where this isn't the case, right? Where you're supposed to pay for your hubris. And so that is very satisfying. And yeah. So thank you, Greg. That was very delicious. Anyway, you can find me on Twitter. You have the Twitter handle underneath my my face. Also, I'm a writer and a game designer, and you can find my games on itch. It's petrav.itch.io. And not too long ago, Greg featured Simon Woodlake on this channel, which is a supernatural horror RPG. So if you came here because you're really into gruesome, dark things, that might be something else for you to check out.
There's the link in chat, everybody, if you want to go pick it up. We played it. It was super duper fun. Yeah, everyone, please follow up everyone here. Just for the very suggestions of anyone want to play Trophy? And then you go, what's Trophy? And then you find fun things, which I always love to do. Speaking of fun things, Mal, hoarding your +2s was a good thing. How you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I've been busy, so I didn't figure out Simon till yesterday. I didn't even know Simon was gonna turn around and like be, fuck it, I'm a good person. But it's fun to just to defy expectations and get surprised by characters like that. So, I was still on brand. He's a sad boy. I didn't get to get into it, but that's what happens in things like this. But yeah, it was really fun. So much fun. I don't know what else to say. It's just fun. It's always fun being here.
It's always fun to have you, my friend. Links in chat, everybody. Mal is on the channel with our Friday Night Frights team, and of course, he plays Hawthorne over on Black Roses Bloom. Fantastic character all around. But he talks about being a good guy. Oh, I didn't know Simon was gonna be a good guy. Okay. Our Alien show is actually postponed for tonight until next Friday, but you've got to check that out because he's playing a real asshole in that one, and it's a fun thing to see when Mal's like, you know what, I'm going full a-hole for this. It's great. It's a fantastic testament to the RP power of Mal.
Yeah, he plays the corporate agent.
He's the corporate liaison, yes. And let's jump up to my partner and friend in said Alien game, Cleric. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I love playing evil characters. I love being able to have a safe release for those dark thoughts that, I mean, be honest, everybody has them. We all have them. We all have that little dark voice in our head sometimes. And I was telling the group earlier before the game, I am in a regular evil campaign on Tuesday nights on Mad Bird streams, where I play a sociopathic little sorcerer warlock who is a lot like Marie in that it's okay, sure, I'm willing to sacrifice pretty much all of you for getting what I want. And Marie she got what she wanted. Now, her little sister, she is sad about losing her little sister, Sybil. They were trying to get Mom out of prison. They had a bribe that they were trying to gather up the money for. But I guess that's not going to happen. Mom's going to die rotting in prison as well. As for Wilbur, that was arsenic in the lipstick that was smeared all over the mouth of the water skin. At least twice.
I was going to allow you to try to kind of fight back from that infection that was taking over, but that combination of like lethal things, it just didn't work. Awesome.
She's an assassin. I had thought about offering a devil's bargain to Simon that she would only make him appear dead if he would stay with her after the end of everything. Since her sister went over the cliff, she was like, well, maybe I can, yeah, you pretend to be dead. And then we'll escape here together, but you have to stay with me. Didn't happen. Oh, well. So, but yeah, hi, I'm Kat. I'm a clerk of court. I'm an evil person, or I like playing evil people.
I was gonna say you're not evil.
No, I'm not evil. I'm not evil. I'm a yes, I'm a little angel. But yeah, this was great. I love these horror games since I can't watch horror shows.
Fantastic, everybody. And we lost Petra, but she was able to give her outro. Make sure you follow her online. Follow all these fantastic people. All links are in chat. And for one final blast, which if you're watching on YouTube, this will be down in the doobly-doo. Trophy is a great little game to play, and it's one of those fantastic, 16-page games that can be just as meaty and have just as much fun as some of the couple 100-page big boys. So love it very much. I will be playing it again. Unfortunately, tonight our Alien show has been rescheduled till next week, so we will definitely be back at 9 p.m. next Friday with the Friday Night Frights crew. But as you see everybody here, we are going to say goodbye for this afternoon, this evening, as we get ready to stream, have fun, talk to you all over on Discord. Please join us there. But as the campfire goes down, there is only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s or kill your friends, but by God, you can always role play. Have fun, my friends.
Good night. Bye. Thanks for watching.